Hello friends, this is Worm, actually, and today, oh boy, I wanted to talk about state of the game article, and specifically in regards to PvP, because I think Bungie just slapped players in the face with the most disrespectful thing I think I've ever seen Bungie do, and they've done a lot of questionable moves in the past, and I kind of want to give my thoughts and opinions on it, but for those of y'all who haven't read it, I'm not going to go over the whole thing here. I'm going to summarize some of the points I wanted to talk about with with this whole article. Now, first things first, in regards to PvE content, it was, I think, mostly good. I don't think there was actually anything bad outside of like some armor discussions, but again, we're not going to talk about that in this video. But for PvE, sorry, everything was good. PvP and Gambit, though, it's looking absolutely horrible for us going forward. So yeah, just be prepared for that. We'll talk about Gambit tomorrow because I have some things about Gambit that I want to say too. But in terms of the Crucible, the highlights of the whole situation, basically Bungie highlighted that we're going to be getting one new map. That's it, like just one, and that's going to come next season. They highlighted the fact that what else? They are adding a couple of new game modes, the checkmate game mode they've teased for a while, and a new game mode called Relic, both of which I'm not disappointed in. Relic seems like a really fun party game. Checkmate, probably not going to be my forte, but I know that some of y'all will enjoy it. That's good. But really, where I wanted to talk today was the disrespectful statement Bungie made about why we don't get new Crucible maps. And well, here, let me back up a little bit. In the article, again, summarizing it here, they basically said that we know that players have been asking for new Crucible maps. Like, they've seen that. So, okay, this is off to a good point. They're addressing, the fact that players have been asking for new PvP maps, right? Great. Okay, they said we have been hard at work on a lot of stuff in the Crucible, such as new game modes and sandbox, and they like basically added their resume, their PvP resume, to the start of this and what they've done to PvP, as if it's supposed to buffer like the blow that's about to happen. They say, but we see that players, they've been asking for new maps, right? This is all good. I'm getting excited up to this point, but then they dropped the bombshell. Bungie basically said that in order to make new maps, it costs money that apparently they don't have. So that's those new maps would take away from other aspects of the game, such as PvE related stuff, right? Therefore, we don't get new maps because Bungie does not want to take away from other areas. Now, a lot of you may be thinking, oh, what's so wrong about that? Like, what's so bad about that? Like, that's just the reality of it. No, the reality of it is that this was a disrespectful statement because in the past, we have gotten new maps for Gambit, we've got new maps for Crucible, and we've got PvE content all together, right? We have got, Forsaken brought us several new maps, lots of new PvE stuff and PvP stuff. Shadowkeep, kind of the same thing. Lots of PvP, lots of PvE. And it's like, as the years go on, they have just been dropping off more and more PvE or PvP content. And by PvP content, I mean maps specifically, for other stuff. And now they have the audacity to basically say, we don't have the money to do that. When in the past they did, right? It would be different if, we had not gotten maps before. Where like we've only gotten one map a year for the past, 10 years. Like, why can't we get more? And they say, hey, it's too much money, right? No, we've had expansions where we've got 7 new maps, 5 new maps, 3 new maps, like, and it's like going down as time goes on, right? And now we get to Witch Queen, where we get one map with Witch Queen, which was Disjunction, which was a horrible map, played absolutely terribly, and now we're getting this new one next season, some Vex Network map that, we'll have to see how it plays out. Like, I think it's going to be a little bit disorienting, but they also address that in the state of the game. But the fact that Bungie has the audacity to say we don't have the money for it when we know good and well that they do, right? It's a slap in players' face. Like, I feel, as a player, I feel disrespected that Bungie would say, oh, we can't make new maps because we don't have the money for it, or we'd have to take the money for making these maps and put them towards, or I'm sorry, we'd have to take the money and the manpower from making PvE stuff and put it towards PvP, when that has not historically been the case. And Bungie has no excuse now, right? They were just bought by Sony. They got $3.6 billion to their name now, added to their already however much they were worth name, I don't get it. Like I would much rather have preferred them just come out and say, hey, you know what? The truth is PvP, not really high on our priorities because it's free to play and it doesn't generate any money for us, right? That's what I would prefer them to say, because at least that's true, brutal honesty, not this sneaky lie. Because that's what it feels like. It feels like they just straight up lied to us and said, we don't have, we don't have the money and the power to make these anymore without taking away from other things. When, like I said, in the past, that has not been the case. In the past, when they were smaller, when they weren't backed by Sony and everything, we got multiple new maps alongside all of our PvE content. Like it's blatantly disrespectful. Like I cannot believe that Bungie actually went out here and said this. And I think that everybody who's reacting negatively to this PvP specifically, to this part of the state of the game has every right to do so. Like they're not wrong. I think True Vanguard did a video talking about it. I think, I know there's been several YouTubers that have covered the whole state of the game article, but I think True Vanguard, he did one that was mostly just all about PvP, not mostly, all about PvP. And he just like shook his head in disbelief, like, wow, like, are you serious? I'm the same way. I'm like, wow, Bungie, really? You're gonna sit there and lie and say, oh, we don't have the manpower, we don't have the resources or the money or whatever it is to fund making PvP maps, right? And that's just not true. That is just not true. And it's not true from a historical basis. I cannot stress this enough. Like, I know that some of y'all that are watching did not play, in years past, but in years past, we have gotten massive content dumps of PvE, PvP, and Gambit stuff, right? And Gambit, of course, we'll talk about Gambit tomorrow because that's been left in the dust. That's dead. It's gone. Okay. But with PvP and the Crucible, I cannot get over how just disrespectful it is, and then the fact that Bungie, and they do this all the time. Anytime they talk about a state of the game or a state of something, they try to give us this resume, like they've been hard at work on PvP, like we've added all these game modes, and what else was it? The sandbox team has been hard at work, and competitive reworks and all this stuff. Like, this is not what, like, it's great. I'm not gonna sit here and say no, they haven't been hard at work on that stuff, but it's not what players want. Right? What players want now is, a refresh on maps. Like, I would take a season where they don't do any sandbox tuning, right? Unless something's blatantly overpowered, obviously, where they don't do any sandbox tuning and they just take their PvP team and focus it all on making new maps so that we can get 5 or 6 new maps. I would totally be down for it, and yeah, like, it's nice to get meta shakeups and whatnot, blah, blah, blah. But I would rather have new maps, and this is Bungie catering more to their casual audience. And if you're a casual player, this is not meant to be disrespectful, but the casual audience does not play PvP as much, so they don't care as much that there's not new maps. Like, they would rather have the sandbox shakeups and the new game modes to try and stuff like that. And there's nothing wrong with liking those, but at the same time, like, the fact that Bungie isn't making maps, like, it's already frustrating enough, but then the fact that they go out and they say, we don't have the money or resources for it, I don't know. I really, really am hung up on that. Like, that was the most disrespectful thing I think Bungie could have possibly said to PvP players. And yeah, I don't know. It's brutal. I'm going to stop talking about it. I know it's a little bit of a shorter video, but I don't know. I want to hear your thoughts on it, though. Like, obviously, the state of the game article, there were positives and negatives. I think that it's been mostly kind of viewed as negative, but from a PvP perspective, only talking about PvP, like, I want to know your thoughts. Like, how do you feel about Bungie saying they don't have the resources to make new maps? How do you feel about the fact that we're probably only going to get one new map for at least another year? It might be the last new map we ever get in Destiny 2. I don't really know. But yeah, I want to hear your thoughts and opinions on it. Do you think Bungie's doing the right thing? Do you think that, Bungie should defend their action, or do you think that Bungie's just straight up wrong? Let me know in the comments. Of course, if you like the video, drop a like. It helps the channel out a lot. And subscribe for more daily Destiny content and discussions like this one. And yeah, watch the videos you see on the end screen, because for whatever reason, YouTube thinks you'll like them. And guys, I'll see you on the next one.